You're correct. I do not like to be bullied or pressured into saying things or believing things that I do not believe. I find that terminology degrading. Okay?
Why?
Because I'm not a birthing person. Okay?
Patrick Bet David drops nukes on Ana Kasparian live on the PBD podcast to show her how kind of hypocritical, or maybe not hypocritical, but more confused or something she seems to be when talking about this whole gender situation. She does not like being called a birthing person. She shouldn't, because she's not a birthing person, okay? She is a woman. But Ana still tries to hold on to these left-wing ideologies that don't get her too far, you know?
I'm a woman.
What's wrong with being called a birthing person?
Well, first of all, not all women even have the capacity to get pregnant. So it's degrading to them to be essentially to have their womanhood questioned if they're not
what a point
if they're unable to have kids to begin with. But also, I mean, look.
Let me just say real quick, God bless Ana Kasparian for what she just said. She actually, and this is somebody who still calls herself on the left. A lot of people watching the episodes that I've been making with Ana Kasparian are like, who's Ana? Guys, you know, guess what? We're all people in America, and we're talking, and we're just talking about the important things. Because when I watch The View, who are extremely on the left, I mean, they're communists. It's just a panel full of communists. I mean, let's just keep it real. But they don't say this part about, you know, there's women who can't have children. You know, why don't we think about them or something like that? They don't say that. They make it like every woman who doesn't have a child is excited and liberated. That's not true. But this person has a heart and compassion. That's why I'm like, yo, Ana, come on out of this darkness that you're in. And just, you don't even need to be right wing, right? But just look at America for the reality of the bad things that are happening. And sometimes facts don't care about your feelings, really all the time. But we can provide facts in a compassionate way, but that still hold dear to the truth.
This is the thing that annoys me about this entire issue and conversation, because they'll turn around and they'll say, no one's calling you a birthing. Okay, does someone need to call an individual who finds the N-word offensive?
If you guys like this video, please thank you for watching. Don't forget the like and subscribe button and the notification bell.
The N-word in order for him or her to find it offensive or degrading. You get what I'm saying? Someone needs to be called that word to find it problematic or to have an issue with it. And besides which, I was called that, okay? Yes, in a medical setting. But this is a doctor who knows I'm a biological woman. Call me a woman. But
That's actually worse that she was called that in a medical setting. I can tell you as a nurse that I have a big problem with that. I have a big problem with that. This the fact that we're not differentiating at this point between man and woman is a problem. But you see where this all starts? Like, we should have never got involved with all of these civil rights. Y'all know me, I always start going off about the Civil Rights Act. I'm probably a heretic somewhere. Like, what is going on, right? But seriously, because, you know, this whole thing, like, I don't see color. No, you're supposed to see differences in people. Okay, there's different cultures and different color, period, right? So, and that part actually is the right that pushes that whole thing. Like, I don't see color. I see, you know, people. I don't see, no, there's differences. Humans are equal, you know, as far as for rights given by God. But there are differences, okay? And then now, because now we have to fight and say that there are differences between men and women. And trust me, she'll fall into it.
A conversation with that doctor. Why did you feel the need to call me a birthing person? Like, where did that come from? And in California, medical providers are basically like told that there will be penalties if they don't use the proper terminology or if they're caught doing anything discriminatory toward the trans community. Now, if they're actually doing something discriminatory toward the trans community, I think medical providers absolutely should face consequences.
Gonna have to stop her again. You see, the thing is, what is discriminatory? Are they doing something medically unethical, such as taking a 12-year-old who might be early developing and then slicing off things, right? So that's unethical, okay, because we know that the body needs to develop first before we start taking away certain enzymes. I mean, I don't think that I have to explain this to people. You know, you don't make a full decision until your frontal lobe isn't fully developed until 24. And believe me, I think for some people 34, but whatever. Anyway, but so that's unethical. If we have ethics, and not by subjection, but by objection, like real ethics, right? Okay, so coming back to it. But we do have to discriminate. We have to. A trans person might feel discriminated because I say to them, "I don't have to give you a pregnancy test. You're a man." A lot of time, or tell a woman you don't need a prostate exam because you're a woman, pretending to be a man. Oh, you don't think I'm a man? That's discriminatory. You know that's how crazy it gets, right? Well, where am I supposed to put? Okay, what are we doing, right?
But the idea that we should change all of our terminology, even toward women who want to be called women, in order to be inclusive is ridiculous to me. Now, if a transgender person wants to be called that, fantastic. I respect it. I'll do it. I'll engage in it. But I think in the context of my relationship with my doctors, I want to be called a woman. It's not that difficult. It is my personal preference. Okay? That doesn't mean that I in any way believe that transgender people should be treated differently, or that they should be discriminated against, or that they should not live lives of dignity. I have had an entire career defending them, supporting them, and this one issue led to ridiculous outrage among a fringe component of that community. They are not representative of the entire transgender community, and for that fringe component, if they think that they're gonna shut me up and force me to say things I don't believe, they've got another thing coming, okay? I'm gonna say what I think every single time.
Do you think they're crossing the line a little bit and it's getting a little bit too ridiculous in certain sectors?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
they turn people off with it. And again, it is a fringe component of the transgender community, and they don't even realize how counterproductive they're being.
And who's allowed for that to happen? Who's been a part of that becoming a reality? Who do you think?
Look, I think most people want to do the right thing, okay? And so they want to be as accepting and tolerant and inclusive as possible, and they don't want to come across as being in any way discriminatory. And I respect that. I think that it comes from a good place, but they shut their brains off sometimes and just go along with things without considering maybe some of the unexpected consequences, how others might feel about what they're engaging in. I think that there's this conflation with the gay community and the transgender community, because think about it. Like, I think a lot of people on the left think of the trans community the same way they thought of the gay community, right? Like, yeah, why not legalize gay marriage? Like, what's wrong with that? Who's it hurting?
Well, that was your first mistake right there. I'm going to be the sister that's going to tell you. You know what I mean? Y'all should have never did that. I can understand a binding contract between two people to make sure that if that person dies, that, you know, all of their stuff doesn't get taken away by a bunch of people who didn't never talk to them for 20 years because they, you know, were living a certain lifestyle that they didn't believe in. Okay. I can meet you down that much of the middle, and that's not the middle. When you legalized this so-called gay marriage, it opened the door to so many different things. So many different things.
But when it comes to some transgender issues, there is a lot on the line, right? Like when we do talk about kids transitioning, you want to make sure that we have a system in place where there's a proper protocol implemented to ensure that we're not transitioning kids who might not actually be transgender.
Do you think it's okay to transition kids under the age of 18, even if the parents consent?
What do you mean, medically?
Medically. Anna, you seem very smart to me, and I think you have common sense.
Yeah, I do have common sense. I think it's a very difficult question to answer, okay? I think that it is a problem when certain states completely ban it, because there are instances of, let's say, teenagers who identify as transgender, they're legitimately transgender, and I don't want to cause harm to those people, right? I think it's a decision that should be left between the parents and the doctors. But at the same time, there are certain things going on where I do worry. Like, I don't know if you guys have read about the Tavistock Clinic in the UK that's shut.
Okay, we don't even need to go any further with the Tavistock Clinic or any of that stuff. I don't know what Anna's just talking about, something with the clinics or something. I don't know. I feel that eye roll, PBD. I do. I'm right there with you, Patrick, because this discussion has gone too far. This is what I mean about that legalizing situations, gay situations, so-called. We became too tolerant. This girl's giving a reason for why a child who was 10 years old, whose frontal lobe has not been developed, is saying they feel like the other sex and that they need to get medicated for that, right? And that we should be doing things like that. When you do one, you're going to do much more than one. You never know when you get it right. They still don't know if they're getting it right, right? They're not getting it right. They don't even let these kids go through puberty to let some of this stuff get out of their system. Insecurity is a real thing in children, and they don't know how to express it. But yet we start doing permanent things to kids and start messing them up for adult life. They're not prepared for adult life if they're going to be messed up with all these chemicals. And I don't need to go any further because I think everybody can see where my stance is going. This is why people like Anna get on my nerves too, because you're right there. You get it. I don't want to cause any harm. No, it will cause. Here's the guarantee. Regardless of what, you're going to deal with some sort of effect. Okay. So there is no cost risk. Your body, go through the science of looking at the body and the body needing to develop before we start tampering with things. Why is that so hard? Why is that so hard? It's like, boom, let us develop, then we tamper. Why can't we do that? Why do something premature? Me personally, don't do it at all. I could go on a whole thing about that, but we're talking about children. Like, are you serious? If she could not stand with that decision. This is why sometimes they say women need to stay out of it because they get emotional. They don't want to, it's going to be a hurt kid. Yes, maybe there will be, but you know what? They won't deal with being 22, a female, bald, with a low voice that they can't get rid of because now they decided that they are a girl, but yet because they've been taking testosterone so long, the voice is a mess and they lost all their hair. And that's a small window of what can really happen. I'll leave it right there. I'll see you guys at the next one.